Right, I am Scroobius Pip and I'm here for Pod Bible magazine and I'm talking to Rob Auton of the Rob Auton Daily Podcast. How are you, Rob?
Hello, Pip. Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm excited to talk to you. We've known each other for years now, and I was very excited when you moved into the podcasting world, kind of in a typically Rob Auton way. Like you do things your own way, um, and it tends to be different. You've not come in and said, "I'm going to interview a load of white males." You you've come in and gone, "I'm going to do a podcast every day for a year." And this was, when did you first do it? Because we'll
Uh,
get into its return this year, but the
2020,
first
yeah.
year in 2020.
So I was going to do it in 2020, and I didn't. Obviously, I didn't know what was going to happen with it. I didn't know that there was going to be a pandemic, so
Yeah,
I had a lot of time, and it was kind of the perfect thing to do on a daily basis, just to give me like a bit of like a creative rhythm, maybe. And I wanted to do it. It's just a daily podcast that has it's a story or a poem or like a musing every day that lasts from 3 to 20 minutes, I think. Anywhere in between that, and it just gives like a home for my ideas, really. And I think if I know I've got somewhere to put them, then when that kind of bell goes off for a line or something like that, and you go, "Oh, I better write that down," then you think, well, oh no, keep fleshing it out like there in the moment, because then I'm like, well, that can go in the podcast, even if it's just something
yeah,
completely crap, or a glimmer of something. Then I can at least think that there is somewhere where it can go. It's not like, oh, that has to go in a show or something like that, and it can be quite free of what I can put in it.
yeah. So in 2020, when you decided to do it, how
Mm.
many did you have kind of in the bag or planned before the year started? Because it's one thing to think I can do something every day for 365 days. It's another thing to jump into it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of this stuff that was in 2020 was basically I just read out all the stuff I'd ever done since 2007.
Yeah.
So I had 13
I
years
mean, in
worth
your
of
shows, obviously, rather than literally everything you've done
yeah,
since
yeah.
2007.
So I had 13 years worth of ideas,
Yeah.
and even then I was like still scraping the barrel as to what I could put into it when it came to December. So a lot of the ideas that were in the 2020 series were I tried and tested on stage,
Yeah.
and I had confidence in them, and I kind of knew how to deliver them because I'd done the trial and error of speeding up this point, slowing down, raise your voice, blah blah, and so it was just good to kind of share them, and it did. I think because as the kind of world, the outside world came to a standstill, it was maybe people were thinking, oh yeah, this is I can tap into this every day maybe, and the good thing is like obviously it's not for everyone, but the people who got on board with it got definitely seemed to get on board with it, and it's like
Yeah.
and then we were going to do it in not 2021 but then 2022. I think we were going to do it from 2022 to 23, and then I said no, I can't, don't feel like I've got enough stuff. And then the year after that, we said we were going to do it again, and then it got to, I think it was the second week of December, and I was just like, no, I can't. I'm not ready to do it. I don't have enough stuff, and I knew how much of a stress it would be. And then the brilliant people at Plosive said, the production company said, okay, well let's say that we'll do it in 2023 to 2024, but we've got to do it, and we're going to record episodes throughout last year. So that we did that. So we got like about 4 months done, and then so it's given me a bit of a head start, really. But
Perfect. Yeah. So you've started it again this year, as said, and what did you learn in the first year that you're taking into this, like the first year of doing it, that you're changing or doing differently, like as for you, I guess, to take that stress and pressure off?
Um, I think I wanted to try to make the episodes longer,
Hmm.
which is just a stupid thing, but I think that sometimes when I was doing them in 2020, the advert would be longer than the episode, and that's just like,
Yeah,
no one
I
wants
definitely
that.
remember a couple of them. I
Yeah.
get through an advert and then there's a really good piece, but you're like, yeah, that's
But
over.
then I always try to think of stuff like um, how I would be as the audience,
Yeah.
and I think, well, if I have to press forward twice and it gets through an advert to the 30 seconds, and then someone reads something out for 30 seconds that they've written, I'd be like, okay, it's not going to make or break my day. Do you know what I mean? But it's like the amount of people, well, not loads of people got in touch, but some people were like, yeah, they're not long
Again,
enough.
it depends how you look at it. It can be funnier that way if you've sat through an advert, and then, or again, the rare podcast that you could accidentally skip the podcast when trying to skip the adverts.
No, exactly, yeah.
You could kind of just press 4 skips and then be, oh,
Yeah.
it's over. I've missed it. I'll go back and look at that.
Yeah, which I think, I mean, people clicking on it and thinking, okay, this is going to be a podcast, and then it's just very, very, very short. I thought, right, no, come on, they've at least got to be like 2 or 3 minutes long. So I wanted to spend more time I want to say fleshing out the ideas, but sometimes that's a bad idea. Like if you've got the idea and it's done and you've got it over, then there's no point in kind of adding more words to it and pointless sentences. But I did learn that I learnt. This is what I learned. I learnt that when the idea comes for something, get it down and work on it right there in the moment of inspiration for as long as you can, and then it gives my the note that I'm making in the notes folder or in my notebook just a bit more of like the inspiration comes as a just use that first wave as much as you can before putting your pen down, because then when you go back to it, you're like, oh yeah, that was there that came to me, and I didn't really have to think about it too much. So just kind of trying to embrace that as much as possible, and then looking at the looking back at it and going, oh yeah, God, I can't remember writing that, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's crap, but yeah, I think that's what I learned. Just I think it was a good. I think it's a good discipline to make yourself work or write. I mean, I'm not down a coal mine, but just like sit down and get down there and get. Even if you think it's rubbish, just get it down and try and make something out of it. And I think it helped me with storytelling a bit. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. It's a joy to listen to and a joy to add to your kind of daily rotation. How do you find? This is probably absolutely stupid a question, but you mentioned being kind of getting 4 months in the can over last year, so you're ahead of the curve. Does that mean you're going to have to be like thinking about Christmas in August and kind of really planning out what's going to be December and end of year conversations, like
Yeah,
a lot of months ahead of time?
I think so. Yeah, I've got to. I really want to try and stay ahead of it, because rushing them is no
Mm.
fun at all. And yeah, with the Christmas ones, but even stuff pops into my head about Christmas all throughout the year. I think it does for everyone, really. Maybe, but there's little like glimpses of Christmas coming, and I'll get them down, and hopefully, I think one of the best things about the 2021 is that they were doing like a roundup of podcasts that were starting, and in the new year in 2020, and I can't remember who it was. Someone from like a television website was saying, "Yeah, well, it's a good intention trying to do a podcast every day or a poem or something, but it's just it'll just be one of those like New Year's resolutions that just fizzles out." And like, I thought, okay, well, that kind of spurred me on, and I kind of need someone. Well, I need myself to say, "Oh, you're only going to be able to keep it up for 6 months," but I just want to try to get to the end. And it's like doing the shows. I wanted to do 10 shows, and I did that, and then it's like, okay, now what do you do? It's just...
I love it. Well, again, that motivation worked because come the end of 2020, you'd won a British Podcast Award and you'd put out a podcast every day. And in case we've not been clear, kind of thing, they're kind of, we've talked about the length and that it's kind of ideas and thoughts. It is essentially a comedy podcast, but you know, there's poetry, there's thoughts and ideas. It's meant as a positive listening experience, right? It's not like 2-minute motivational speech or reflecting on news or politics at the start of your day.
No, I think that it's just what it does make me look. It makes me look more, you know. And you sent me a message the other day about looking out the window and stuff like that, and it does. It makes me engage with what's going on more. And you know, today's episode was or when we're recording, on the day of recording, the episode is about when I was on a train and a guy ordered a pizza to be delivered to the platform, and it came in and like everyone was cheering and they couldn't believe it, and it was just kind of it was that was quite a long time ago, but it makes me rack my brains as to what's happened and what I could talk about and these memories and things like that. And short stories. And I think the thing is like everyone's got these. I always think about it like if everyone could tell the funny stories that have happened to them in their lives, it'd just be unbelievable. It'd be amazing. Instead of like these few people who, I don't know, somehow feel like their stories are the best or whatever. It's just like, I just want to hear what everyone's stories of like what they've seen in the world. It'd be absolutely awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It'd be amazing. Often it's tough with my podcast. I'm going completely off topic now. We'll wrap things up in a minute. With my podcast, I often think it'd be amazing to just have every random person on, but because mine's a 60 to 90 minute episode, you don't know if people are going to be able to talk for that long or find the right things. In a way, you might need longer to find what those interesting moments are and things like that. It's why when I do the live shows, it's always the guest is always the audience and people queue up to come on stage, and that works perfectly because then there's just 10 minutes of your story, of your best or of the thing you want to talk about, and it gets that out there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's good fun. Well, to wrap things up, where would you suggest any new listeners start? Would you just say start at today's episode and then go back if you want? There's loads to mine from the back catalogue.
No, I would say go back to the 2021. I think it's about episode 12 or something. There's one called Jupiter that I think is a good place to start. That's a short story about me being an estate agent on the planet Jupiter and a couple coming up to me and saying, "Oh, you used to live on Earth, didn't you? Can you tell us a bit about it?" You know, I think that's a good place to start. And then there's one about water, but some in this series, I think there's one I wrote about toasted sandwiches that I quite like. But it's weird with these new ones. Like I've never read them out, a lot of them, to anyone. So I'm recording them into a microphone for the first time, and yeah, I'm like, what is this? Is this any good? But you just got to go with your gut, haven't you? I guess.
Yeah, I'm so glad you gave a name of that one from the first series because you're like, it's about number 12, but that's saying so. Scroll back through 370, 80
Oh
episodes.
yeah.
So you can search Rob Auton and Jupiter, and then that's easy to find. But that would have been a challenge otherwise. I'd say just scroll for about 4 minutes and then see where you get on from there. I love it. Well, thank you very much, Rob. Have you got anything? Have you got any? What are you up to? You're on tour at the moment, right? With your Fringe show, which was amazing. I came to see it, loved it.
Oh, thanks, mate. No, I know you did it. I know that you came to. I know you came to see it, and that always blows me away. But I'm on tour. I'm going to Liverpool and Manchester and loads of places. robauton.co.uk for tickets. It's a show called The Rob Auton Show that's all about me. It's the 10th one in a series that I've done on themes. And I've been really enjoying it. It would be great if anyone wants to come.
It feels like a great show. Like it was a great show for me to come and see, having seen so many of your other shows, but knowing there's ones I miss because it's the Rob Auton one. You do reference some of them, and you'll give a little like your favourite line or whatever from different shows. So it feels like a great one for new audiences to come and see almost because there's elements of here's some of the hits and here's the new stuff.
Yeah, I feel like even though it's like the 10th one, I feel like this one should have probably been my first one.
Yeah.
And then, instead of doing my first show about the colour yellow, I should have done the colour yellow when I was really scraping the barrel of like ideas. Oh God, what can I do an idea about now? Probably the colour yellow, and then a show about now, and then then I'll do a show about the sky. Anyway.
Well, you've landed in a great place. So, I recommend people come and see it. And I look forward to the rest of this year's podcast. The pressure is on, but hopefully it's a positive and creative pressure.
Yeah, the pressure is on. And I think pressure is good, isn't it? I think even, if it gets me off my phone, then great. Anything, I think... I think pressure is good, and I'm good under pressure. But hope so. It's just that notes folder. It's got to go in the note, but that's on the phone. So it's like, put your idea in, get off your phone, get on the keyboard.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you for taking the time, mate.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you so much.